This board can be found at the bottom of People's Park. On it is a poem called "Innocence Remains." It's about Rosebud. It goes like this: Rosebud, life ends, but innocence remains as a cry in the broken silence. Innocent, plaintive blood shatters the night of our defiant days, demanding no refuge, no revenge, but a deeper accounting. A stain corrupts, but cannot be washed away. A wound bleeds, but cannot be healed, nor do we wish to heal, to wash away blood, to form moral scar tissue, nor to obviate that which is obscenely obvious, indelible, and deeply instilled within. This still pool of our grief, our indignation, and deeper stains the innocent earth. In a sense, the innocence remains. The innocent remains, cry out, defiance, outrageous and innocent. The earth remembers, innocence remains. August 29th, 1992, Alex Rod. August 25th is the anniversary of the death of Rosebud DeNovo, who was shot in the back by police after breaking into the Chancellor's mansion to protest the treatment of homeless people. A little bit more in a second. So, the story of the person who broke into the Chancellor's mansion.
Yeah.
Can you tell this was a byproduct of the 90s, not the 60s,
Correct.
not the different era. This is a response to the volleyball.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Rosebud DeNovo, otherwise known as Laura Miller, she came to us when she was like 17. She ran away from Kentucky. She was being raised by some kind of like I don't know if they were abusive. If she told it, it would be kind of like they weren't good. She ran away. And she found herself here. And she was an anarchist to her core. She loved anarchy. She loved thinking about it, talking about it, studying about it. And she was determined to have a revolution. And she thought, and People's Park was really, she spent a lot of time unhoused. And she would go up into the Berkeley Hills. And she actually got busted because she had, they had a little encampment there, and she had a copy of the Anarchist Cookbook and these little jars and stuff. They're like, what is she up to? And a lot of people back then in the 90s liked to talk about revolution, but there wasn't a whole lot of organizing for it. And Rosebud, she didn't have a lot of education. She didn't have a lot of, she wasn't socially smooth, She was about, maybe she was 5 feet tall. She's tiny.
right.
And she wanted a revolution. So a lot of the guys they kind of pump her up, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna do this, and talking about all the things they're gonna do. When the park got invaded and the whole thing went down, the guys weren't action oriented enough for her. So she said to hell with it, and she took it upon herself, and her job in her mind was to take this machete and to go into Chancellor Chen's house up here, and I guess to make him agree to leave the park. It was an ill-conceived plan, and apparently she went into the bottom. She tripped a burglar alarm when she went in. So the Chancellor was long since gone by the time the cops got there. The cops went in there. They had a canine unit from Oakland, and she was shot I think 4 times, mostly in the back. And had they wanted to, they could easily have taken her. Had they wanted to take her life, it would have been no problem. But they just ended her life. They just killed her because they knew they could get away with it. Because she was estranged from her grandparents, and it was hard to find next of kin, and was nobody going to sue, and she did. She had a machete. And to what degree her I don't know. I don't know if there was any hints of mental illness back there. I don't know if just being so dedicated to the act. I don't know. But I can tell you clearly that she was a revolutionary. That's what she wanted. And you know, I wish I had known about the plan. I wish I could have talked her out of it. She worked with Cop Watch a little bit. She worked with a lot of different groups. But at the end of the day, she felt like she had to take matters into her own hands.
Yeah. What was your relationship with her? Like, you personally, like, you know, you knew her, you seen her a bunch of times, or how was that, you know,
Yeah.
before she passed?
You know, I don't know if I was ever like a big sister to her in some way. But I was probably, you know, I was 8, 9 years older than she was. And, you know, I do remember one time, the reason why I say I could have talked her out of it, or somebody could have talked her out of it, because I talked her out of shit before. You know, down on Regent Street, she was renting a room or staying with a bunch, in like a collective house. And this old guy, Black Mike, he was really mad at her because she was doing the same thing. She was getting like little baby food jars and powdered laundry detergent, you know, and she had some gasoline that was leaking down the hallway, so he was mad as hell and wanted to throw her out. He's like, what the fuck are you up to? You can't do this shit in my house. And I was in his bedroom. It was a big room. And she comes in, and she's got this railroad spike in her hand, which is just a hunk of metal. It's not sharp or anything. And
Yeah.
it's like, Rosebud, there's nothing you're going to do with that thing.
Yeah.
That, you know, there's nothing that's going to happen with that.
Yeah.
So I was like, give it to me and let's have a chat. So she gave it to me and we had a chat and everything worked out at that time. And that's why I say, like, I think sometimes she didn't, she's kind of in her, you know, I don't know if she's on the spectrum, but there was a whole rich inner life that she didn't necessarily share with other folks, but you could get in there, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, had they wanted to.
Yeah, so they had canines, they had, you know.
They had all the time in the world. The Chancellor and his wife were long since had left the house, so she was the only person in there,
Yeah.
except for the cops. And again, she's like frail, skinny, little, 5 foot something.
Yeah. Dang. And there was some talk about one of the cops that killed her had a long history of abuse or something like that. Did anything unfold that you guys found out later?
I think there's a guy named Greg Chu, who may have been the guy who actually shot her. I think he was an Oakland cop. And, you know, I can't remember in this moment, like, what his rap sheet looked like. But, you know, it's just part of that hopelessness that we get, that they can do whatever they do to us, and it's so hard to strike back. It's so hard to, you know, make them
accountable.
diminish them in some way, you know.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of those kind of stories.
Yeah. No,
Cops with long rap sheets.
Right.
do
Right.
what they do.
Hey, y'all, this is in memory of Rosebud De Novo. This is what she looked like right here. Hold on, can you see that? She's like a hippie surfer type. She's like 5 foot. This book right here, People's Park, Still Blooming, talks about her on page 61. Rosebud murdered. What really killed Rosebud? On August 25th, 1992, De Novo, armed with a hunting knife and machete, broke into the residence of Chancellor Chang of the UC Berkeley campus at 5:50 a.m. She triggered a silent alarm which summoned the campus police, who escorted Tien and his wife safely off the premise. Police then entered the otherwise empty house, shot and killed De Novo, who had allegedly lunged at an officer with the machete. The killing triggered further protests since the police entrance was not seen as necessary and contrary to customary police procedure. Um, I'm reading this here at this pole because this is actually the pole, one of the poles that was here keeping up the the volleyball court. Okay, so back in the day, in the 90s, not the 60s, there was a fight about People's Park, and they wanted to break the back of culture by creating something that was just for the Berkeley students to play sand volleyball. And yeah, so this was a part of the volleyball court, and it's the last of it. And the volleyball court was knocked down, and they turned it back into grass. But this is the part of the park that was the volleyball court. So real close to the sidewalk, right over here, was the volleyball court. And Rosebud DeNovo, she passed away fighting for the park. They said she had mental illness. They said that, she was a little impulsive. She might have been on the spectrum. She was young, undiagnosed, runaway. And I think my goal here is to keep everybody aware of the stories so that we keep an eye out for justice. We keep an eye out for injustice. We keep an eye out for murder, of people that are considered second class, and to make sure that, everybody here gets treated fairly, with equality, constitutionally policed, and that just everything that's necessary happens, so nothing unnecessary needs to happen. So it's a couple days before the big protests, and this is my piece about Rosebud DeNovo. Rest in peace to the queen of People's Park. Man, I love you guys. Alright, y'all, we are here at the Chancellor's Mansion. This is where Rosebud DeNovo got killed at. We're gonna see how big this thing really is. Okay? Alright. As you can see right here, we up in the air. We done took flight. Alright. It's kind of a big thing. Can you see that? No, you can't see it anyway. Alright, come on, let me focus. Damn. This is where Rosebud DeNovo was murdered. Wow. Let's see if it's a big house or not. Damn, this is Rosebud DeNovo's last place of living. This big ass house. It's huge. The backyard is huge. They're damn near throwing a party back here. I don't know. So it's right here. Oh my God. Look at all this space. So this is pretty much big enough. If you include the area I'm standing, and you include the surrounding areas and the backyard, that student housing that they want to put at People's Park could easily go right here. Alright? So that's the point of this video. And I'm out of here, man, before the police come kill me. Okay. Damn, let me get a closer look. I want to get some up close for real. Look at this. Damn, look at this beautiful house. Hella big, 2 stories, hella rooms on every story. Damn, homie. it. Just in case anybody was wondering, am I really flying that drone? Am I really flying that drone? What you mean? It's Documentary David, aka Mr. Drone Man. Woo! Can't do that. Y'all can't do that. Anyway, we out. Safe landing. And let's get up out of here before the police get me. What do you have to say about the current situation? I know Harvey Smith is having his day in court with the UC on October 10th. Students are preparing, for tear gas. The mayor is saying he might lift the ban on no tear gas, so they might allow tear gas. I mean, what's October 2022 look like?
Well, that's a good question. I hope that the destruction that happened on August 3rd, the useless destruction, nobody benefited from what Carol Christ characterized as $1.5 million in property damage. Not to mention the cost of all those police and all that overtime. So I'm easily $2 million. Got nothing for it, town and gown. And then you can take all those policymakers, the head of the School of Public Policy, state representative, the mayor, city council people, and try to ask them a question. Is that good public policy? Is anybody accountable for that $2 million that went down the toilet for nothing? And all the drama and trauma that caused? Is that a good public policy? And the problem is that they don't account for externalities. The depth of our feeling is not something that they can list on their spreadsheet. The way that we value our history, the way that we value our struggle, the way that we feel about freedom and open space and the last little remnants of Mother Earth in our community, they can't account for it. So that's why they continue to miscalculate. They just have no idea. So we'll see what October looks like.
Yeah. Any final message to the students or to the people in Berkeley that are kind of ready to take action? They don't know what to do. They don't know what's coming.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the most important thing is to show up and to see it for yourself, because you can't trust these guys who got such agendas and they will lie just right straight to your face up and down all day. These guys had the chutzpah to be able to sit underneath a land acknowledgement that they were projecting onto the wall while they're scheming to take our land. It's just shocking what audacity they have. But I would say to students, I went to this place to get my education, and I did get it, but I didn't get it inside the classrooms here. The education that served me my whole life was when we, protested, when we fought,
Right.
when we understood that what we were fighting for is worth it. It's worth something.
Yeah.
And it gives our lives meaning, and it's worth everything.
All right. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And then say your name again.
My name is Andrea Pritchett.
Okay. And you founder of the Cop Watch.
Yes, I'm a co-founder of Berkeley Cop Watch, and we started that effort to hold police accountable back in 1990, and we're still doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm about to go teach this class, so we
All
can
right.
keep doing it.
Cool. Let me take a little quick picture. Boom. All right, cool. We get it. Rosebud was a runaway hitchhiker, juvenile institution escapee, and an anarchist, while coincidentally squatting at the same property that Ted had resided on as a UC Berkeley math professor. In 1969, Rosebud threw herself into the defense of the 3-acre People's Park established that same year. In 1991, riot police escorted bulldozers to demolition the park's free speech stage and build university volleyball courts in its place. Rosebud was arrested in the ensuing park defense. Days later, police raided her campsite and found a crossbow, a copy of the anarchist cookbook, and a diary entry addressed to the university chancellor. You're not getting off that easy. Early on August 25th, 1992, Rosebud used a blowtorch to break into the chancellor's house. Police trapped Rosebud inside and shot her fatally in the back. In one hand, she carried a note reading, "We are willing to die for this piece of land. Are you?" In the other hand, a machete. Mourners clashed with police for a week after her death. The district attorney determined that police acted appropriately in killing Rosebud. She was 19 years old. The park remains, though it is once again under attack. Rest in peace, Rosebud, the defender of People's Park. Murdered by police, August 25th, 1992, Berkeley, California. Power to the people.